Oh, yeah, here we go. It's episode 96. And we got a special one here with Nate Weston. I have to go back and check this, but I think he was the first guest with Lincoln Powell that we had for this iteration of the podcast. So we were pumped to get him back on. Obviously, he just released Skull Chatter. If you haven't seen it, I don't know who the fuck you are, but go check it out. Actually, there's people that don't listen to that aren't tied into the parkour community here that listen. So, and I really appreciate you guys. But if you want to see one of the best parkour projects to date, check out Skull Chatter. It'll be in the description, and you'll be able to understand what we're talking about here. So we dive deep on that video, Nate's process behind creating it. Now that the cat's out of the bag, we dive into some of the tricks that were featured in it that he has been working on and had worked on for his entire career and training, and he shares some great insights into just the whole process behind it and what he learned through the project, and just got some updates on that's how he's doing and where he's going next. So much love to Nate for coming on and everyone involved with the Skull Chatter project. And here you guys go.
Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you now. Hell yeah.
There we go.
Hell
Nice.
yes. Oh, wait a second. Let me turn my headphone up a little bit. Dude, this is dope. We both have podcast setups now.
Yeah, dude, it's legit. Yeah, we have a little Rode set up and a little mic, and yeah, it's super sick, super nice to just hook it up to the laptop and get it going.
Amazing. I mean, dude, how have you been? How is the...
Dude, yeah, I've been good. Just kind of getting to relive the whole like video in a way, because everyone's just been super overwhelmingly supportive of the whole project, which is, as something that's taken this long to actually make and release, to see that kind of response definitely means the world to me. And yeah, just being really excited about, getting this all done and wrapped up, and kind of looking on to the next, what that next project is in the future, and just kind of getting hyped about that. But yeah, man, I'm stoked.
Oh, well, I'm super stoked too. Like, man, I have to just take a moment to just say like how much it was so enjoyable. Like, I so appreciate, like, I can't really say it how much I appreciate someone putting together a project like this. And like, I think I know to an extent how hard it is to kind of really apply yourself as much. And I like, for a project this big, especially doing it all yourself, you're the feature athlete and you have to create so much footage and at a time when it's all crazy. It's just such a beautiful little time capsule. Like, I love something that I can actually go back and want to revisit. I know I'll be able to watch this video that you created, Skull Chatter, for years and derive like enjoyment and like new things out of it every time. Like, even just watching it, I think I've watched it 3, 4, 5 times, something like that. And every time it's just like I'm getting more and more out of it, because the first time I watched it, it was like I couldn't get through 4 seconds before I had to like rewind. I'm like, what was that? Like, oh shit. So that's like my so then even being able to just like, okay, I'm just gonna watch it through took like at least a few watches because it's so juicy and so meaty, and I'm like a little bit detail oriented that way. I'm like, oh, I want to see those things. So I just think, yeah, you did such an amazing job. But yeah, so before we talk about the next projects, and I think actually, I also wanted to shout you out because I'm pretty sure that you are the first guest that we've ever had on the new iteration of the podcast. You and Lincoln did like episode 1.
Let's go.
I'm pumped to have you back on.
I remember so well the first podcast I did with you with Lincoln back in 2018, I think. And just remembering that, and I don't know, I love these kind of little catch ups so much, and especially nowadays with like how little that's kind of going on. So yeah, I appreciate you having me, man. I'm stoked to kind of get it going with you.
Yeah, dude, it's such an honor. And yeah, remember we were on Nick's floor, just like, look how far we've come now. Look, I have a couch now.
Dude,
this is new Hydrox.
You're a homeowner.
Episode. Woo, I'm living the life, dude. We're getting there. I got my framed.
Oh, let's go.
I have to get that rugby shirt too. Okay, so there's so much I want
Yeah.
to talk about. Let me just go to my notes just for a second because at least I have it in order here, so I won't forget what we talked about. But one of the things, like I'm sure everyone's really curious about, and I'm very curious about, is the decision to make it all black and white. And yeah, I guess like if you can just talk about like your concept of the project in in its entirety, I would love to just get a little more insight.
Yeah. So yeah, basically the whole project, the very first clip that I recorded for the project was the Santa Monica side flip precision.
Mm.
And that was back in February. And luckily Ryan Kelly was there, and he had like a nice Sony camera. My homie Oliver was filming on his on an iPhone, and then I had a GoPro. Um, and from that moment, obviously I knew like, okay, like this doesn't just belong on Instagram and it's just going to get lost in the void of just Instagram.
Mm.
So I need to hold on to it, and however long that takes, I'm just gonna, just wait for the right moment, just get as many clips, make a proper project, and then release the whole thing. So right from the like day one, I knew like this is the project I wanted to make. Um, and as time went on, that's when COVID really started to kind of hit everyone, and everyone started to realize like, oh, like, there's a pandemic and lockdowns and all this stuff. And I had just kind of gotten in this weird, like, I had to make a decision basically where it was either I release it right now or I just wait and just hold on and just, it's going to be a while.
Ride this thing
um,
out. Yeah.
and I still I kept with the whole idea of like, all right, this belongs in a project. And as I went out to go train and stuff, like, I have like a little like Sony RX100, like a little pocket camera, which is a nice camera, but for the level of quality that I wanted the project to have, it seemed really hard to combine iPhone clips, GoPro clips,
Mm.
all over the board, just like, a lot of different things from different cameras. And when I put everything in black and white, I was able to kind of, in my eyes, I was able to not notice the difference in camera quality. And so that was the biggest creative decision that was made for the black and white. And I also just low key love black and white so much.
Yeah, I'm like,
So
I
like that.
love it. I was wondering if it was just purely the camera thing because I actually listened to Giles and Keelan on their podcast react to it, and that's like what the theory that they put forward was is it's probably something to do with the footage. And I was like, that makes a lot of sense. But also, I low key love black and white too. And I remember when you were visiting, when you were coming through and doing the project, you had mentioned a little bit about how you like leaving things. It sounded like you wanted to at least allow people to digest and take their own interpretation from the project
Yeah,
and
exactly.
make it their own. So
Yeah, that was another piece of like the creative decision I made throughout the whole thing was the reason it's paced the way it is to allow people to watch it, and from any kind of point of view or whatever situation they're in, they would be able to at least kind of digest it in a way that is applicable to them and their situation. And the whole video, to me, I try to represent it as a kind of comparison to human emotion and what I was going through, and still tend to go through at times, where it's like I get these overthinking thoughts and just kind of get like just go crazy, which is at first like chaos bit, where everything's just kind of chaotic and hectic, and then there's like this kind of revamp, and everything kind of goes smooth and calm, and it's like, okay, like this moment of like not serenity but just kind of zen, I guess, and like just being in the moment. And then I find that those moments of being kind of zen and whatever really lead up to whatever the next thing is. And I notice it tends to kind of come in a loop, just no matter what, like in my life, I noticed these three kind of like stages that always seem to happen. And so that's how I kind of tried to, because I edited the whole video and I tried to really portray that through training. And I just really love the idea of, like you said, like the first time you watch the film, like you obviously watch it and then you can go back and rewatch and kind of find different things, or like maybe you didn't notice this one the little meaning behind it or whatever. But that was the whole point that I really tried to kind of play into, was the idea that there's going to be all these kind of hidden little meanings that are in there, and it's like you would not be able to notice it first time watching it through. And I'm really stoked with the way it's come, because it feels like the reason it's a 12-minute long video is another reason. Like there's a reason behind that as well. I just feel like I didn't want it to be this dragged out 40-minute long documentary about like how hard I was having it and like the way that I was feeling like in this certain moment in time. As that just felt like kind of dragging it out. And I felt like just creating a visual story that's 12 minutes, sub 15 minutes is my goal. Really worked, and to have it all visual as well, because I just felt like the moment because I tried to do a little bit of narration on it, and it just felt like I'm putting a stamp on what this moment is, and it just felt kind of wrong. It was like, that's not like the universal thing that everyone kind of maybe interprets from this. And so I just kind of kept it completely visual. And to have, clothing and a photo book to really dig deep into, all the behind the scenes and behind like all the backstory of challenges that were difficult, or like, places we were and like why it was hard, or, all these very fine details that you actually wouldn't be able to include in the full film if you did do that kind of route, and so that was like, to me, that was just the best of both worlds, is to have, the visual and the photo book. And I'm beyond stoked on the photo book, man. Like, I can't wait for you to see it.
I can't wait for my copy to come in. I don't know when they're shipping or if they've shipped and it's just that COVID delay, but dude.
Yeah, they should be shipping in the next week or so. So you should be getting it pretty soon.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, I'm super hyped on that, and I want to dive into those details in the book and with you, and just, yeah, I love how it turned out too, man. Like I could go on and on about it because I really appreciate it. Like I feel it's very original. Like it's something that we haven't seen before, and that's one of my favorite criteria to meet when I am, viewing anything. I'm just like, wow, I've never really seen this done this way. And you said visual story, like, or I think is that the phrase you used. And it's just like a really cool story. And like I said, the more times I watch it, the more I go, oh wow, I can really absorb and like vibe with the emotions in between. And, of course, like one of the times I watched, like the favorite thing was the moves. Like I was like, oh my God, what the fuck is that? And like, I can't believe he's doing that move. And like, how does he, like I can't do that kind of like excitement. And then another time, my favorite thing was the shots of nature and the shots of like you and just that the calm section of it. And just, that was like the most profound watch for me. I was like, wow, just like absorbing that section of it, and kind of feeling that. So I wanted to ask you about more like, you did separate it into the chaos, the calm, and cessation. You just talked about those three kind of concepts that show up in a loop for you. Can you tell me more about just like what each of those represents and like, and how you arrived at that? Like, also I noticed it was like commencement, calm, cessation, credits. They all start with C. I don't know if there's any significance there, but just each one of those sections, I'm curious.
Yeah, nothing too. I just liked it because it all had a common theme, just starting with the letter C, and just like really, really easy to kind of follow along.
You were conscious of that. So
yes, there we go. That's the reason.
There's a conscious cause to that concept.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's and I can dig into it again, and maybe a little bit deeper as well. But like when I first moved to LA, I was definitely in like a really bad rut. So I moved to LA last November, and not from anyone else or anything else but myself. I just put so much pressure on myself because I'm like, okay, I'm moving to LA. Like I'm, trying to make it work, trying to like do stunts, trying to, do a lot of things, make it like, you know, give myself like the acknowledgement that like there's a reason I'm here and I belong here. And it was not really coming. And it was like really like, it was really hard to actually sink into like just being comfortable in LA. And I just got in this really, really weird pattern of thoughts. And it just felt like, no matter what, I just couldn't get it out of my own head. And it also felt like I couldn't like explain it to anyone either, because it'd always just be like, I don't know, it'd just be scratching the surface. And I'd always kind of feel like this deep void just like in me, just like not satisfied at all with what I was doing. And in those moments, like I've always in the past, always been able to kind of break out of that void or those overthinking thoughts or whatever, that is, with training. And it never like, it always in the past, I was able to, even if it was like the most basic training session, like I was able to be like, okay, that was great. Like I had a good time. That was sick. I feel so much happier and so much better. But it was like all of a sudden that just like that switch just turned off completely. And I just like, didn't matter what I was doing. I could just never feel like satisfied. And it was so fucking annoying because I just couldn't break out of it. Like I was like, it felt like I was just like bashing my head against the wall and nothing was going on. Like nothing was happening. And I just like didn't get it at all. And kind of deep down, I realized that if I think I really wanted to get out of this mindset, I'd have to do something that just would like low key kind of like scare me out of it in a way that would like, cause like, the whole point of training at height to me is that like, at ground training, you can kind of think about other things maybe, and like your mind can kind of wander a bit. But when you're at height, like the only thing that you should be thinking about is this one thing. Because if you don't, that's your life. Like it's a super important thing. Like you need to be on point. And if you don't, you're going to like, there's consequence. And I've always known that from the past. And so I knew like I needed something that was going to like get me in the moment so hard that like it would just kind of reset everything. And I remember doing like just the regular on the one bar, the side flip free on the bar, and then kick back into full and back out back in 2017. And I remember thinking like, yeah, I think it's possible to go from one bar to the other. But just kind of putting it aside as like not really doable. Like it's feasible. Like it's definitely like,
yeah, you're like physically it's a thing.
Yeah.
In physics,
yeah, exactly.
In the world of
and
material things, it could happen.
Yeah, like if everything is perfect, like it could happen. And so, but mentally it's just completely fucked. Like I'm just like, every time I thought about it, I would just freak out. And I kind of made it like a note in myself, like if I do this thing, like I know that it'll kind of reset everything. And also I'll make a project out of it, which is Skull Chatter. And so that was back, I started prepping it in the gym in at Tempest Valley with a bunch of mats and stuff. And, just prepped it for a bunch of days, just like looking at it and seeing how it was. And, it always kind of felt wrong. It always felt like, yeah, this isn't doable. But I just had this one that was like, I actually hit my feet. Like I got the right pop off the second to last rail on the takeoff. And I actually like set up and not like out and down.
Yeah.
Because that was like the cop out. That was like the easy way to do it. Like when you're scared. And I actually like popped and went up and I hit my feet on top and I was like, oh shit. Like, yeah, this is a thing. Like if I do this specifically, like this exact motion, like it'll be fine. And so once I did that in the gym, I stopped doing them in the gym because I just knew that like, I didn't want to risk the one time that like the one session that it really, really worked to be in the gym and then not at Santa Monica. So I kind of knew like, okay, I'm just going to completely, scratch the gym and just go to Santa Monica like once or twice a week and just consistently get my mind and my body to just get in this rhythm of like doing it, like prepping it, but not actually doing it. And for me, that process is so beneficial just to go there like a bunch of times and just go through the motion and pretend, like low key pretend that you're going to do it. Like standing on the lat, like the first rail, you're like, okay, like I'm going to do it. And then like I can feel my like mind like freaking
It's
out.
like puzzling.
Like,
It's like, what? We have to solve for
like,
this. It's like,
yeah, like
it's like, fuck. It's like, turn in your homework now. You're like, shit, your brain's like,
dude, it is insane.
Scribbling shit down, trying to figure it out. It's like, all right, here's how you do it. Fuck.
Yeah, dude. And then every time I could feel that like feeling come up every day I went. And so in those moments I would know that, like, okay, I'm not doing it today, but I'm seeing actually how it would feel if I actually was going to do it. And it's such a funny thing. And I love referring to the way you put this for the Hollywood jump, about the portal and how like this one, like everything that led up to this one day was just everything. It seemed like everything was like giving me the okay, like what the universe, whatever. It was just like, yeah, like this whole, like the smallest thing. Like I remember I just moved into a new apartment and I like got a couch or something, like, you know, just like this little thing, like that was like a good, like it was like an accomplishment, and it's like the tiniest little bit, but I had like a bunch of those happening throughout the first, like the 2 days leading up to the actual day that I did it. And like one of them was like my homie Oliver was like supposed to work on that Saturday, and he was like, fuck, I can't come out and like, and like, cause I just needed someone to be there with me. Obviously, like it's just to support that. Yeah. Like, I'm like terrified. I'm not just going to do it solo. And so when he said that, I was like, damn, like, I can't do it without him. So maybe we just wait till next week. But then he all of a sudden was like, no, I got it covered. Like, we're good. And it was supposed to rain as well. And I still was like, oh, damn. Like, but even if it rains, like, I'm only on the bars, so I can just dry them off, and it'll probably be grippier as well. So it should be fine. And like all these little like possible setbacks, like got kind of pushed aside, and it just was like a go. Like, it was like, we got there. I like started warming up and feeling like, oh yeah, like I think this is a thing. Like I feel like I could do it right now. And it was such a crazy feeling because every time, the days prior when I was prepping, every time I had that thought, it would be this like anxiety inducing, like just like, like, no, like don't. And then all of a sudden, when I actually had that kind of decision of like, I think I'm going to do this, it was like completely just calm and like peace, and nothing else mattered at all. Like after watching the video back, it's so hard to actually remember the feeling of doing it in a way, because it was just so like, just do this one thing and that's it. Like everyone's voices kind of drowned out. Like it was like it was Saturday at Santa Monica. Like it was a busy day.
Yeah. And
so there's people walking around and, working out and stuff. And I just don't remember any of that. And it's really interesting how that kind of just tunnel vision just, it was surreal, man. It was like as close as you can get, in my opinion, to like an out of body experience, like completely just in the moment. And yeah, like it was crazy. And got it done. Like the first one I sent, it was from the first one to the last one I got, it was like 10 minutes. So it was really pretty quick. And yeah, like, but it was like the best 10 minutes of my life. Like that was like the most at one with everything that I've felt. And going from like what Paul Whitecotton has said and a bunch of other people have said as well, where it's like the thing that people, I think the reason they do anything, and like what people want inherently in this world is, inner peace and to be at one with themselves, and like doing what you love is that. And I just kind of got reconnected with the joy and passion of training, because I guess I kind of lost that a bit after moving to LA and being like, all right, I'm trying to, make this whole thing work. And I guess I kind of lost sight of that. just a bit, but not enough to fully lose it. Cause it came back so quick. And I just was like so grateful for everything. And yeah, it's such a crazy thing to think back on, now, and, just get to relive it. And yeah, it's something else.
It's very much something else. I vibe with so many things that you're saying there. One of the things I wanted to say is that's interesting is like the fact that you kept this window open. Like when we talk about it as a portal, and let me know if you agree. I mean, it sounds like you kind of dig this analogy. It's like you're like opening this portal. Like you show up to like the gates of like whatever, some like ancient area or something. It's like, and you just start fucking reading. You're reading this fucking chant or whatever, the thing that's gonna open the portal. You're just showing up. You're gonna put energy, and you're just going, oh, blah, 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 whatever. I don't know. That's the kind of like vibe I'm thinking of right now, where you're like, I'm gonna say the scriptures. I'm gonna do the things, and it's like nothing's happening, but you just keep doing it, and then all of a sudden it opens up, and you're like, the universe turns their key, and then it's just looking at you like, you're gonna turn your key now. Are you gonna jump through this thing? And that's just such a weird power. I know what you mean by out of body, because it's just like, it's like you become something else in those extreme focused moments. I wanted to ask like 2 questions is, what portal do you feel like you stepped into by jumping through that and doing that challenge? Or, you know, like what was the universe on this side and what's the universe on the other side? It kind of sounds like, you know, it was a rediscovery of joy, but I'm wondering if you could go into that more. And then another question is, why do you think it required so much energy and effort and building up to open that specific, you know, like, you know, whatever, like warp in the space-time fabric of the universe, which is, I feel like that's really what it is like you're warping space-time into like a reality where now this has happened. And not only that has happened, but sorry, I don't want to cut you off. Last thing is just this challenge is like that happened. Okay. The flip to flip, like double flyaway happened, but also whatever meaning you put behind that, like, is imbued in that kind of like experience.
Yeah, totally. I think, you know, prior to like getting that challenge done and hopping through the portal, as we say, it felt like I was, like you said, I was leaving behind this kind of other version of myself, which looking back on now, I feel like there was a big chance of something really bad happening. Whether it be completely losing joy in training and just like quitting training, to, you know, there's a lot of things that I was feeling, and it felt like I was getting scared of what I was kind of becoming in a way. And you know, it's hard to fully elaborate on that, but it just felt like I was going down the wrong path, and I knew it in the moment, and I just it felt like I was going down the wrong path, and I couldn't stop myself. I was like, I couldn't do anything about it. I was out of control. And so in a way, like, hopping through that portal in a way just completely like reversed that path in a way. It was like no longer going down this path that just was ending in disaster to me. That's how it felt. To going towards something more productive and filled with passion.
Tell me if you agree with this.
Just kind of that.
Sorry, I don't want to cut you off, but I had this amazing thought you just made me think of, which is, I think it's pretty amazing. It's like you almost create a challenge that you're like, this person that I'm becoming won't do this. And I will. Like the person I want to become will do this. And like by kind of like putting it onto like the battlefield almost, it's like you're kind of, I don't want to say going to war with yourself, because I don't know that that's like what you should be thinking of it as, but basically you are kind of like, you're almost pinching off like all these potentially weaker versions of you at that moment. You're like, you like twist them out of if there is like multiverses and things, like you're like, nope, I like take that energy out and like form a new one. So it's just like a really wild thing to think about. You just made me like think. I was like, whoa, what if that's like kind of what you're doing is you're confronting that person that won't do it, and you're like taking over basically by taking all of the versions of yourself that won't and pulling them into this moment.
I love what Alex Honnold says as well. It's like you face your fear because your goal demands it, and that is the goddamn warrior spirit. It's just like it doesn't matter how much it scares you. It's like if that is your goal, like you will stop at nothing to get that thing done. And like that feeling, like just talking about it, like just saying that, it just makes me feel like just it feels like anything can be possible if you really go at it that way. And that's such a powerful feeling. But yeah, man, it's such a, oh my gosh. What was your other question?
The other
again?
question was kind of like, well, I just kind of gave you a theory on it because I was thinking about it. But what I was asking was, why do you think you need to create this portal? Like, why does it take so much energy to create it? Why does it have to be such a huge moment? And does it anymore? Like, one of the things that I thought was interesting is you didn't want to exhaust whatever like energy you had for this problem in the gym. It sounds like it almost is like you had a sense that this energy is going to culminate and I want it to happen on my terms. I don't want it to like, So I'm just curious if you think, because I've talked with other people about this, and it feels like a lot of people have kind of come to a point in their training where they put everything down on one trick or one line, you know, sometimes a couple of times in their training, but they kind of come terms face to face with themselves in like they do that every day. Everyone's doing it in training, but on like a much grander scale. And, and then I think what people have found is on the other side of that, they like discovered that, you know, there was a certain process that was completed. So I'm just curious what you're.
Yeah, I think it's tough because everything in life, it comes in waves, and some are high, some are low, some are lower than others, some are higher than others. And it's all in moments too. Like there's these specific moments in time where it's like the most probability that it will happen in this moment in time is like at the highest. And like you said, like that's when you have to kind of go for it. And that's when the universe is telling you like, all right, like this is it. Like, are you gonna lay it down the line? And I just knew that it was the challenge itself was the culmination of so many years of training and you know, all this time and effort being put into, you know, working on side flip rail precisions. And it just felt like the most like the epitome of all my training and just like everything going into this one moment. And that's what it felt like. It just was. And so it required to have it be, you know, so close to the line of like not doable for me. Like it felt like it was right on the line of being completely not doable. Like I just wouldn't do it. Like, you're not going to see me, I don't think, like flipping to a rail up like 5 stories or something like that. Like there's just like a certain level of like, of just kind
Careful
of
what you say, bro.
in a way. Yeah.
The universe might put that in front of you.
Yeah, knock on wood, knock on wood. But there's a certain level of like, there's a line where it can kind of go too far, I think. And it just felt like the Santa Monica Rails was the perfect example of, to me, showcasing all of my like hard work and time and basically like proving to myself and my childhood self that like I did it. Like this is what it was all for. Like this is why it was like, if everything was like not so hard in but like the days leading up to that moment, it wouldn't have felt as rewarding. If everything was like hunky dory and everything was great, it wouldn't have been that much of an accomplishment. I don't think it still would have been great. Don't get me wrong, but it just had this feeling to it that was so much more than just the challenge itself. I think that's why so much energy went into it, was because I knew that it wasn't, you know, on one hand, there's like, it's at height, it's rails, you know, you slip, you could, you know, it's not like you're going to die or anything, but you know, you can get messed up a bit. And I obviously didn't want to get hurt, but it felt like if I didn't get this challenge, then it would hurt way more than breaking a rib or doing anything physically harming to my body. that like mentally I would just not be able to kind of live with myself in a way. I don't know. It just, that's what it felt like.
Yeah. It's almost like,
And in a way,
sorry.
yeah, it felt like everything was on the line, like in a way, like, you know, similar to how things feel at height. It's like you just have to do this one thing and that's everything. That's such a, I love that feeling. Like that feeling is everything to me.
I love it too. Yeah, man. I think there's a part of us that wants to know that we'll show up when called upon. And we need to know that we can see that side of ourselves. We want to draw that side of ourselves out to make sure that, you know, we're accountable and trustworthy to ourselves to an extent, you know, and just be like,
And I think
yeah, go ahead.
there's a difference between being completely like send it and like, you know, going for it all the time. Like I think to me the most respectable aspect of an athlete and as a person as well is not necessarily doing certain challenges, but when they say no to that challenge or when they hold back, and really put things into perspective. Because I mean, you know, on the surface, you see all of the accomplishments and stuff, but what you don't see is all the times that that person said, maybe not. Like, I'm going to, you know, really think about this. But to be able to see that mindset isn't limiting them, like that mindset is keeping them in check and valuing everything in their life accordingly. But just seeing people full on send, no matter what, to me is like, that's scary. Like that, like that can be a bit destructive and yeah, it's that spooks me out. But to know that I can show up to a challenge and like you said, like when the task is like the task at hand, when you need to show up for yourself, when you can, you know, in a way against all odds, just like, you know, tunnel vision, like through the night, just doesn't matter what is in your way, like you're doing this thing. And that's such a sick feeling. Like, yeah,
I love that, dude.
I love that.
It's a sharp sword that you've welded and created there. I love it. Okay, let's keep it going, dude. I got a few more things I wanted to ask you about. The music choice was really powerful. I loved the music. I thought it was like, you know, one of the things that I really love most about videos like this is that those songs go down in my world like till forever. They make me feel certain ways. They make me inspired to do training. Obviously, it's from a parkour video, and of course, it turns me on to music that I don't normally listen to and stuff. So, I really liked the music. I liked I'm just curious if you had any words on the song selection there.
Yeah. So the very last song, by Sloth Rest, Magnets Part 2, that song, I heard that song, I think back in 2014 or 15. I remember the first time I listened to it, like, you know, there's good music and then there's music that like hits you and like, it makes you feel like there's so much meaning to it. And I couldn't put a finger on it. And I just knew like kind of in that moment, I just needed to try my best to make this into an edit because it felt right. So that song was from the start, just I knew, and especially once this project really started getting kicked off and I put it to like the music and like the ender, like the side pre to the like the end beat. I think I had that on a timeline for basically the whole 9 months. Like, I just knew.
You're like, it's coming to this. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, like this is it. And I was very stoked to work with them as well. I hit them up on Instagram, and was like, you know, just, hey, like, making a film. I don't really know how like music policies work or whatever, but it's just gonna be a YouTube video, and I would love to use your music. And to my surprise, they responded and you know, paid a small fee for the license to have the song in the video, and that just working with an artist from, you know, on one hand, it's like, you know, parkour is my way of portraying and expressing myself. But there's all these other artists, whether it's Ken Johnson filming, whether it's Brian and his artwork, whether it's all these artists in their music. Like, that's what I love so much about this project is it's not, like you said, it's not just about like on one hand, it is like there's a lot of, you know, to me, it's some of my best training, but that's not the whole point. The whole point is trying to create this bigger than just parkour project. And that you don't have to just train parkour to take something from it. And that's what I love the most about it. Again, it's like, it's not necessarily the actual feat itself of flipping to the rail at Santa Monica, but it's just the way it felt, and the whole story and the whole process of it is what makes it so special. But yeah, I'm so grateful to have that last song in there. And I hit up some of the other artists as well, and they were down to like the first song. The artist got back to me and was like, "Yeah, sick. Like, I'd love to see."
I like that one a lot.
I don't know,
too,
just
yeah.
like, I don't know. It just like, yeah, it
Came
feels
together.
so sick to have those people involved. And yeah, the music was a big part of the project, and very, very grateful for all the artists letting me use the songs.
Oh yeah, you killed it. I just wanted to let you know a few of the favorite moments that probably we might not talk about, or there'd be less noticed. But one of my favorite moments, and it's like a split-second frame, is the foot anchor roll when you're walking down like just a step. That is like the funniest shit, because like I just get that moment. It's just like, God damn it, like that'll just happen to you. You're like, I'm this freak athlete, but I'm still clumsy. The dribble, when you dribbled the rail at that park and whatever. I don't know what that move is called, but you just passed the fucking rail between your legs after you did a I don't even know what that move's called. The like front, when you like underbar front flip.
At the park.
At the park. The dribble, dribble was one of my favorite moments. You know, again, like unique moments. I'm just like, I love it when they throw just a little something. I'm like, ooh, that's a nice place for a dribble. Yeah. It's not like I've never seen that move before, but the reason I liked it is just so well put in. And then the Nordy gap I wanted to talk to you about, of course, because, you know, we both have hit that challenge, and I just wanted to dive deeper. Yeah. Before we do that, though, you didn't really get the chance to talk on Modus podcast about the water tower, at least like not the flip section of it. And I was just curious, like, have you received any feedback from like the skate or BMX community on that, and or just like if you want to dive into that flip process, you know?
Yeah, I'd love to. Again, yeah, the book has a bunch more. Thankfully,
we'll get the book. And also Tempest just put out a great video for if they wanted to go into more of the Santa Monica flip pre, you guys just put out a great video, but you also edited that. That's crazy. You did these epic edits.
I did that video. It's called Out of the Mind, and it's not really like a behind the scenes, just kind of more of like a recap of the way everything kind of was led up to actually doing it.
Have you seen Harry Mania 2?
But say it again.
Harry Mania 2.
Yeah,
is that where you pulled that song from?
I watched that video.
I love that song. Yeah. I love that video so much too. And I was like, I wonder if that's where he got it too, because that's like one of my favorite all-time inspirations from that world.
Dude, I love that video so much, dude.
Mm-hmm.
That one hit home. That's why I used the song, because I wanted to pay tribute to that video.
Nice.
But yeah, the water towers. So a little backstory. Back in 1997, Jeremy Ray ollied the 16-foot water tower gap, and which it just is insane to think about. Like, after being there, I don't get it at all. And the fact that he running jumped it as well is just insane as well. But so yeah, he did that back in 1997, and then one of his his like high school buddies, his name is Mike Escamilla, which unknown to me is like a homie of Gabe Nunez, I think through like stunts and stuff. And so yeah, he bunny hopped it on a BMX bike, and which again is just insane to think about.
Well, I mean, I'm not trying to take anything away from them, but on a skateboard's insane. A BMX is also insane, because I don't actually know how to do either of these well enough. But at least with the BMX, I know you can go super fast. I don't know what the run up is.
You can like. You can like. It's a huge run up. It's like, I think you have like nearly 100 feet or something like
Okay,
that.
so I'm like,
Crazy.
at least on a bike, I imagine you can just get going so fast that even a small bunny hop would get you there. But then that's still sketch as fuck. To be able to bunny
Still
hop
sketch as
well
fuck.
at
Yeah.
that speed that's actually what takes years to develop. But anyhow.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was, and I watched the Jenka magazine video, like documenting the whole behind the scenes, and just like Jeremy going back to the gap. And I just did some research, and it was like 30 minutes away from where I lived at the time. And I was just like, I have to go. Like I had no intention of actually going there and like doing the gap at all. I just wanted to see it because I love the feeling of going to like spots, like, you know, going to, like walking through Cherry Creek. Like that's the same feeling. Like walking through and just seeing all these legendary spots that people have hit. And you can just kind of like visualize like what they actually did.
Oh yeah.
It's such a fun feeling. And
It's so amazing, and you interact with it for the first time. You're like, oh, this is how it is. Whoa.
yeah,
I remember
dude,
the first
yeah.
time I was at IMAX, and I was like, it's like this high. Oh, and the wall's
Yep.
this thick. Oh, and it's weird and beveled. Like it
Yep,
slants
yep.
inward. What the fuck? Like it just
You see
the little
all
details,
the
and you're like,
things that in person you'd only be able to really notice, and from video you just wouldn't be able to tell.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we went there, and I knew that they took the ladder out because I think a bunch of skaters kept on going up there, and so they took the ladder out.
That's what we do.
But in the video I noticed like a big, like it was a big like fat pipe, and it went all the way up to the top, and like kind of like mid, like 2/3 of the way up, there was like a big cone. I'm not really sure. It was like a metal cone that like went out and up, and it was really hard to like climb around it because I had to like reach up and over it.
Ooh.
And I had to grab like these little like bolts. And like it was just like not a great way to get up.
It's like only for
but I knew like
climbers now and parkour athletes.
yeah, like I feel like a skater probably wouldn't do that. But like yeah, once I got to the top, I just like looked at the gap, and it was honestly like again, like it felt like I wouldn't want to not do it, because like there's just this moment in time where it just everything was working. Like, all right, we got over the fence. No one's here. It'd be really quick, just like in and out, get the gap done, and we're good. Like, and so I just kind of had to jump it.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew I kind of wanted to flip it as well before even going there, is like, just, you know, it'd be a cool kind of to pay homage to Jeremy and Mike. And so I did the jump, and I kind of undercooked it a bit. Like I didn't really jump as far as I'd like. Like I wanted to like stride it in a way.
Oh yeah. Like hop it.
But I just kind of had to, I kind of had to like shuffle land in a way.
Yeah.
But it's just a really weird gap, because it's like they're both flat to flat, and it's 16 foot. But they're both curved. And so like there's these two specific points where it's the shortest distance.
Yeah.
Which is 15 feet. And the moment you start to angle like just the slightest bit off to the right or left, it just becomes like way bigger and like like way too much to deal with. Like you just, I thought like if I angled it like maybe a few degrees to the right, I'd probably like barely make it to cat.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
And so there's just like these very like 2 points, specific 2 points. And once I did the jump, I was like, okay, like, yeah, it felt pretty, you know, pretty easy. I undercooked it, and I knew it, like gunned it and just side flipped, I would be able to get across. And I can't even imagine how that must feel on a skateboard, like pumping, like pushing into like the gap. Because as I started to like, because I slowly jogged, and then as like the point of like I have to like kind of go and like sprint, and then there like you start sprinting, and then there's this point of like kind of no return where you're better off just sending it across than like trying to stop.
Yeah.
Because then you're just not even
Then you're definitely
gonna have
down.
a chance of getting across. So you might as well just go.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I even felt that, but I can't even imagine what it must have felt like on a skateboard, dude. And it's rough up there, dude. It's so rough. It's
really?
like, I don't get it.
What a legend. I don't know how that would work either. That's crazy that you can go that fast and ollie that far.
I got thankfully Jeremy Ray and Mike Escamilla. Jeremy did an amazing interview piece where he just wrote a whole bunch backstory about the whole process for him.
Oh,
and
amazing.
That's going to be in the magazine, and which is just insane to think about. To have him a part of this as well is just such an honor.
That's really cool.
But yeah, it was honestly so quick. It was like all right, get up, cool, jump it, cool, side flip, cool, get down. And then like I watched Garrett got up there as well, and he did the jump across, and that was fun to kind of share that moment with him.
Oh, nice.
And then we just like dipped because we started noticing like kind of trucks, kind of like the water treatment trucks coming in a bit, and we're like, all right, like just get the fuck out of here. And that was it. It was just like such a quick process, and it was honestly like so easy as well. Like there was no difficulty necessarily in doing. It just felt like the right thing to do. And obviously if it didn't feel right, I wouldn't have done it. But just everything felt great. And so it's just like, yeah, we're doing
that,
it.
That Santa Monica thing behind you, you get really in touch with like when it feels right in challenges like that to an extent. Cause I think that's part of that process. And so then you kind of like, you're able to just more resonate with that frequency. You're like, oh, we're good. Like I know I got the green light right now. I felt that.
Yeah.
The older, the more like trained and just customized you get to that feeling.
I mean, that's what my family always, like my mom and my dad, they're always like, how do you know like you're gonna be able to make it? And it's such a hard thing to explain, but like like you said, like when you tap into that kind of complete focus and in the moment zone, you're able to really like very accurately understand what is actually doable. And almost becomes like a sense of like, it's just like this, like, yeah, I know I can't make that, or yeah, I know I can make that. It's such a hard thing to explain, but
it really is. It's a
feeling. It
feeling.
just comes with
really
experience,
like,
though. It just comes with experience.
Yeah, it's a feeling thing. It's not really it's not something you really can explain. You know, I was talking with Danny Arroyo in the last episode, and he was saying like, he's like, you can tell somebody like, here's how you put your feet when you're dancing, and like put your feet here and like do this with your arms, and like you could describe a dance, but that doesn't mean you can dance.
That's
like
a
you have to
analogy,
like dance, you know, like, and it's something about like you have to be able to do it. It's really interesting, but yeah, some of these things are kind of indescribable.
Yeah, that's a good point. Damn.
Well, and then again, the last like just big challenge that I thought was worth mentioning and discussing here would be the Nordstrom Kong Pre front. You know, I'm just curious how that process was for you. You know.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I loved it. Yeah, I mean, the very first time I saw it was with you, Lincoln, and Nick. And I believe this is before you guys had hit it. This is 2018.
You guys were visiting.
Yeah, and we remember we had all done like we did the roof gap, like the Cherry Creek roof gap. Nick had just done the white rail descent. Like we're all like, we all felt really good. Like we're like, all right, sick. Like I don't know, kind of low key, just like you know, feeling that frequency of like
the portal's wide open. Like you got a big one
like we're
going
like
right
anything
now.
is possible in a way. Like, but I remember when we got to that rooftop, I think it was kind of like a half hour after we had done those things, so it seemed like kind of winding down, and adrenaline kind of like, you know, getting a bit lower, and so we were like, all right, like this is like definitely a thing, but definitely not right now. And then once I saw, and mad props to you and Nick, dude, because the hardest thing with any challenge is opening the door.
Oh yeah,
is being the first person.
Yeah, that was all
to
Nick, dude.
Like hit that, and it comes with it. Just it makes it so much crazier to me. And so going into that Kong Pre, it definitely helped so much to know that it's obviously physically possible. Because like, you know, when you see someone else do it, it's just you're able to.
I was actually able to see him do it. That was the big thing for me.
Yeah.
You know, I was there when he did it. I was like content to never do it. But once I saw him do it, I was like, the portal, it just opened up for me like instantly.
Damn.
I was totally not even really thinking about training that hard that day. I was like,
damn,
it was crazy. That's how powerful opening it is. That's why, like, again, props to Nick, because I was totally just like, we'll see. Like, if I do anything today, I'm just kind of here to hang out. And I went from
and that was the same day.
Same day. Like within 15 minutes,
so
I was
sick.
like, all right. But it was weird. It was a weird day because, like, again, I was like, I'm not training, but you know the manhood, just the down pre. That was like the first jump I did that day. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be doing that. I'm not saying that that's like how people should train or whatever, but it was like, again, I was just in this mode where I had no nothing to prove and nothing to like. I was just kind of like, I'm enjoying my training, and that was the first jump that I wanted to do, so I did it, and it was just kind of a strange day. I was like, huh, opening up with and I'd actually never done that jump that day. That was the first time I did it.
Yeah, that's
oddly
sick.
enough, and so I was like, huh. I guess when the challenges, who went? Was it you? Was it? No, it was it wasn't Callum. Fuck, I can't remember. But somebody on Instagram recently was talking about how you can. Oh, it was Tim Champion. Some challenges come to you. You can grind towards a challenge like you did with Santa Monica, and then other challenges will just arrive at your front door. And it was that kind of experience for me where I was like, all right, this big jump that I'd never done. Okay, cool. That was just easy now. I didn't even like have to think about it. It was just ready. And then when I went to film Nick, Nick had just done Manhood, which was insane.
Oh my gosh.
Which again, then props to Dylan for opening that one. But then, so then Nick was like, I'm going to do the Nordstrom one. And I think it's so powerful because like I mentioned a little bit in the photo book I did with my little interview part for that gap. It would be, it would happen so fast. Nick did it. And just me seeing him do it, experiencing witnessing that turned me from like completely content to never do that gap in my whole life to like, I'm going to do this within like 20 minutes. It was crazy.
Dude, that's so sick. God damn. It's like a switch just gets like you see like your brain just reads so much information from seeing someone do a gap.
Oh my God.
It's like actually insane.
Yeah, it became so possible all of a sudden. It was like all the unknowns were like all the unknowns were just answered, and I just had every bit of information I needed now.
Oh my gosh, dude, that's so fucking sick. God damn. Yeah, that gap is no joke. Like that Nordstrom Kong Pre is no joke.
It ain't no scrub, that's for sure. But yeah,
I bruised the fuck out of my heels, dude.
On the front flip or on the pre?
Yeah, on the front flip. Because I did 3 attempts. The first one, obviously, I overshot a bit. Like I not like missed the wall or anything, but just like I hit the like far edge and just like pinged off, kind of.
Pinged off, yeah.
And then the next one, I think I just went into it way slower and tried to do the front, and then just like I did the thing that like Callum did in like
exact same
in India.
Yeah, I remember that.
The exact same thing. I just like punched and nothing happened. I just all this downward momentum just went into the wall and stopped.
It just like left you like limp, like rotating in air. You're like, oh shit, I guess
yeah,
I have no set, I have no flip or whatever, no up, but I'm just falling forward now.
I'm just going straight towards the ground and just landed flat on my ass. And was like, damn, okay, that was impacty, and I still got nothing. So I guess I got to really try this next one. So I kind of felt my heel a bit on that one. And then the next one, I was like, I'm doing this. Like, I don't want to keep doing this over and over again because that's just there's no use in just like doing a bunch of repetitions and you're going over a death gap. So it's like you don't want to. The
exposure is like you're like I want to feel good about it, but anything after 3 is like what am I doing?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was feeling. So on the third one, I was like, all right, I have to do this. And I still, dude, I rotated so slow. It was like probably one of the worst front flips I've ever done, I think. but dude, it just felt like I had to do it. It was like, I don't know, there was nothing else to go to after that. Like pre, I didn't think I could step vault it because I would have just destroyed my one leg. And I didn't want to like just hit it and like pop off really. Yeah. And so I just like knew I wanted to front it. But managed to get the front flip to my knees and it worked. So I was stoked with it. But dude, that wall is also rough. Like
the Kong wall. It's I know that was another thing I saw is like. Yeah, I had fucking like little not injuries, but just like it tore up my palms too.
Yeah, because like there's little like rocks, and they like I think I had like 3 or 4 punctures on either hand, and like I was like bleeding, like on the 3rd attempt, I was like full on just like bleeding, and I remember like that's why I had blood on my shirt, is I was like grabbing my shirt and just trying to dry the blood, and then I'd be like, all right, you ready, Kent? And then I just like wipe my hands on my shoes and then just run. Dude, oh my God.
Oh man, that
So
one,
funny.
that one was really powerful. Like that was so, it took me back just to like see you like approaching the run up. I was like, oh my God, I know that feeling.
Dude.
And very few people do, but it is definitely something that is just out of this world, because there's hang time. I've never had hang time like that off of a Kong Pre.
Yeah.
Really, except I don't even know. Like that was one of the biggest ones I've ever done. Actually, it's crazy. Hang time wise,
No,
like the power that's required is actually not the biggest I've ever done, but you float for a while. But yeah, dude, I think people could flip that gap, flip pre it, like Kong front pre, or like flip over the wall pre it. You know, I think it's possible. Just because.
Oh, dude, I didn't even think about that.
I think it's possible. I think someone could actually reverse it to like.
Dude, Marcio
punch
should
side.
fucking
Oh my
step
God.
it. Oh my God.
Oh, dude, but I don't want anyone to go there. I really don't, because I'm just like. Well, actually,
Yeah,
no.
it's
It's not
scary.
that I don't trust people. I think people are amazing. It's just, it is intense to watch that. It's intense to watch Nick do it. It's intense to watch. Yeah, exactly. But it is like one of these like iconic gaps now that it's like, it's in a way it's as hefty as the drop is, as long as the distance is, and of course how scary it is, and the walls punctury and stuff. It's pretty perfect setup. So you know what I mean? Like it's not. That's one of the things that makes it so tempting. It's like, all right, there's actually not that much that I would change about this. So
yeah. It's low key like a perfect spot. Yeah.
Oh man, you're giving me like goosebumps and like chills just thinking about it a little bit. Yeah.
God damn.
Oh, the last thing, well, the oop inward. There was like this oop, alley oop, like 90-degree pre you did to the wall after that Concat in LA that I think might go underlooked if we don't talk about it. Because I think that's one of the scariest things I've seen in the video, was jumping 90 degrees, kind of turning inward towards the wall. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Wait, which clip?
You did Kong to Cat. I think it's that famous Kong to Cat in LA over at height. I think it's in LA.
Yep.
And then you jump immediately into that descent, but like the jump you do to the top of that wall is fucked.
Oh yeah. Dude, I was really
like
stoked about that.
Maybe the scariest thing in that whole line to me is the jump to that 90-degree turn.
Yeah, same. It was definitely spooky because the walls are really, really thin. Like they're like probably like that thin. Like you can like overgrip easily on one hand. So they're really, really thin, and even the Kong to Cat felt strange too. Like it wasn't like an ideal situation. It's not huge. But the one thing that was really weird to me was when I did the Kong, like I had way more pop than I initially thought I was going to have, and I like low key kind of landed like pretty high.
Yeah, you had to like drop into Cat like.
Yeah, and I was like, damn, this is probably Kong preable or
it looked
something,
like it.
And I was just like, oh, this is so gross because the walls were just so thin. And I knew I didn't really want to fuck with that too much. But I saw obviously I did the descent, and I've kind of, I think not intentionally really, but I've kind of strayed a bit away from just kind of normal cat to cat descents. At least from like, any higher than like 5 stories. And I just feel like it gets a bit not boring, because when I see other people do it, I'm like, that's so sick. And I love watching people do them, but personally, I just don't find them as rewarding as they used to be when I first did them. And so I really love the idea of finding like very kind of complex descents where it's not just cat to cat to cat. It's like there's all these moving pieces that, if you half step over here in this direction, you hit it from this angle, it completely changes it. And there's no way to really understand the complexity of it unless you train or you're really been there to that spot. And yeah, that 182 straight descent was definitely like a good feeling moment, because it was like, all right, this is what I've been looking for, just to find like another way to get into a descent. Because I love that whole line, and the way it, it pays tribute to me. It pays tribute to Victor and Jason, who hit it. Victor hit it like in 2009 or something, dude, which is pretty insane. And Jason did it as well, and I just wanted to pay tribute to them. but also kind of add this, you know, my style
Your little
to
flair
the
to it,
spot
yeah.
as well, and to add on to it. And yeah, it honestly came pretty easy. Like it was really quick, like from start to finish. I'm trying to think of the hardest thing. The weirdest part was the like it's a stairwell, and so you can't really, like, especially coming from the cat, when you pop up, you don't have that much of an angle to hit it at. So you have to kind of hit it straight
It's like
on.
hurdle it
And there's
almost.
there's like another, like there's a concrete hand, or like concrete side, and there's a handrail to my left, and then there's another one to my right. So I have like,
It's actually a
good like
pretty
4 or
narrow
5 feet.
window.
It's pretty narrow, yeah. And so to do it, I had to take off right foot and kind of like, not hurdle, but just like scoop over the left side concrete wall,
Yeah.
so that I would land with my hips behind me, and then I could grab and then drop into cat. And it was honestly scarier. The scariest thing was the idea of maybe heel slipping out, and so like not actually going out enough. It was like if I toe slipped out, that's probably better,
Yeah.
because then I could just like grab
You
and
just taco
stay
on top
on.
of the very
But
worst.
if I like, when I was prepping it, I remember like hitting my arches and like pushing into the stairwell and being like, oh fuck, like if my if my shoulders commit and my hips don't,
Oh yeah.
that's a no bueno.
That's
That's
an
very not
impromptu
good.
layout to the fucking concrete.
Yeah, and it's not that high, but still, it's like, I don't want to
That
do
would be
that,
fucked, dude.
dude.
That would be so fucked.
But yeah, what's all kind of made sense. It happened really quick, and yeah, very stoked on that clip too. Yeah,
Yeah, man. There's so many great clips in the video. I wanted to mention a few, but there, like, we could literally dissect each one if we had the time. It would
Thanks,
be so
man.
much
Yeah,
fun.
I appreciate it.
It's okay. So I think, you mentioned at the beginning that you're like, and now I'm looking already to the next thing. Maybe actually, there's one last thing before we go into the next thing, is the clothing. If you want to like just explain maybe some of the process behind creating that. It's a really unique piece. Both like, well, the cap is cool. Like the logo is unique, and it's just, I like the simplicity of it. I like the simplicity of the line. But the rugby shirt is
that was
kind of,
my goal going into it, was not to plaster it with logos or anything crazy, because I love simplicity, and creating meaning in that simplistic kind of art. And I knew, like, just from watching, I get so much inspiration from skating and that whole skate culture, and I just love the look of a polo on someone, and like skating and like actively wearing a polo. It just like looks right. And so the striped polo is something that I just was pretty set on. Like I want something that just, yeah, I don't know. It just feels like it's not just a t-shirt. It's like there's thought process into why we did it. And it's not just a logo on a t-shirt. It's like there's more to it. I'm so stoked with it, man. It definitely means a lot to me to be working with Tempest to get this kind of stuff done. Cause honestly, I would not be able to make this at this like level of quality without the help of Tempest. So I'm very, very appreciative of all that's been going on with them. And but yeah, we got a striped rugby polo. I also have on this all black one. It's kind of hard to tell.
Shit.
We just printed our own one just to have a black short sleeve and white collar.
Oh, wait, is that going to be available for purchase?
So far, no. We kind of made the decision of which one would make the most sense to sell first, and not make people choose. So we're going to do the black and yellow striped long sleeve rugby polo, and so that one's on sale for now, right now. And we have shorts, we have ball cap, and we have a beanie.
What? I didn't even see the shorts yet.
T-shirts.
Where did the shorts come? I don't know why. I need to pay more closer attention. I didn't even see the shorts yet.
Yeah, we have the shorts. They're like a kind of swimsuit material.
That's
one thing that is, they're like a kind of a shorter fit, and so you have to size up like 1 or 2 sizes, I think. But yeah, we have shorts, and yeah, I love the idea of having like a piece of clothing to go along with a project. Like when I wear Roof Culture, Like
Mm.
I rep that shit. Like, you know, like it's just like, yeah, roof culture. Like, and same with Merm, same with, you know, every brand. Like when I see a video, and like you said, with the music, like you listen to a music from a video, it like brings back this kind of feeling that you had from watching the video or whatever. And that was the whole point of the clothing, is just to, you know, not make a lot of money at all, because really we're not going to. But the whole point is just to, you know, keep this, you know, story going.
Yeah. It feels so good to be
And
outfitted in stuff that's meaningful to us. And I do
yeah,
have to
man,
say,
that's the biggest step forward.
I do have to say that I have a little bit of a, yeah, I don't know, just noticing that you were wearing some Merm in those clips. I was like, oh, that makes me fucking feel so good. I don't know why, but like the socks, man. I'm like, oh, he's got the socks on too, bro.
Dude, you guys are the OGs, man.
We are.
God, I miss the 2014.
Many OGs,
I always go back to like the 2014 edits from you guys, and I just,
those were some good. Those are
yeah,
the
still
years,
like, you know,
years.
like you said, like there's those edits that just like they mean so much, and you guys, yeah, you're up there, man.
Those are the ones we probably put the most energy into. At least that I know the one that, you know, you're probably talking of is like you get in what you put out sometimes, and we put in a lot, you know, at that time.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for still drawing inspiration from that. I think all the stuff the Skull Chatter is coming out with is so cool. Yeah, I'm so pumped on it. Yeah, it means a lot. I like that's why I have my shit framed. I got this one framed.
Dude, yes.
I got like,
oh, that's so sick.
That's the Storm America Tour tee, the Modus 365 tee, and the Store Roof Culture Asia.
Dude, let's
promotion.
go.
And so I'm like, I don't even want to wear them now because they mean too much to me, even though it annoys me because I should have got 2 of each, because then I could at least like still vibe off of it while I'm training or whatever. Yeah, those are powerful. And Giles has the insane collection. You know, he's got like one of everything they ever made or some shit.
Dude, right? Yeah.
He's got Giles, we're putting you in charge of Hall of Fame.
PK history.
PK, like, yeah, the annals. Is it annals? It's not annals. The annals. I said annals. It's just spelled the same, bro, I think, or something. The annals of parkour will be built, you know, by
Oh,
Giles.
for sure.
Dude, yeah, you did such an amazing job. Okay, so unless you have anything else to say on the clothing, let's talk about what's next for Nate. You know, you're in the other side. You're in the new multiverse now.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think the biggest thing is not necessarily like what's the next project or whatever, and like what's going to be the next big thing, you know, like what's the next Santa Monica side flip rail precision for me, because going into that, it feels like I'm putting an expectation on myself, and that feels like it's kind of the recipe for disaster in a way, where it's like I'm just going to push myself, and then, you know, I don't really know what the outcome will be. But I think the biggest thing from this whole project has been a learning experience. And it's been such a good one at that. And as an athlete, as a person, and I just got I got to know kind of really who I was and my process, what my process is for my training. And in a way, this project kind of alleviated pressure, because there's these, you know, I definitely more a reserved person, and I definitely kind of stay to myself, and I'm in my head a lot. And I always would look at that as a bad thing. And so to have this kind of negative feeling towards that, and the moment those thoughts would kind of come in, I would instantly just feel like this, like this is wrong. Like this, like I should, like, why am I feeling this way? And I would feel bad because I was feeling bad. And then it would just like get in this weird loop of like, it would just go downhill quick. And I think the biggest thing that I learned from this whole process of the project is that like there will always be ups and downs, and in a way, the moments that, for me at least for this project, the low moments were what dictated my like future in a way. And so now that I know that going into the next project, I know like, you know, not everything's perfect. Like things are complicated. Life's complicated. And there's all these things that'll happen that, you know, I don't know right now, but I know there's going to be bumps in the road for sure. And probably bigger bumps in the road than I even was dealing with last year. Which isn't, at first thought, it maybe is like, oh, it's kind of depressing. Like,
Mhm.
you just think about the negative stuff. But in a way, it just kind of prevents me from getting thrown into this like loop of negativity. And so when those next moments kind of happen, those moments of being kind of feeling like I'm in a rut, I know now that it's going to be leading up to something great and bigger than myself, which honestly is like I think one of the most powerful tools that I've ever even come close to learning, like just from experience and just from learning about this whole thing. And so, yeah, I think it's less about the movement and like specifically what the next project is, but it's just like, what's the next thing. And I know that it'll come naturally. Like you said, like things kind of just show up at your doorstep sometimes. And I'm just kind of trying to be open to whatever that thing is, and not directly like specifically saying like it has to be this or it has to be that. And I'm trying to stay as open as I can to as many different opportunities. But as of right now, I'm kind of chilling. I'm training a bit, nothing too serious, just kind of, enjoying the passion of it. Cause it feels like it's at almost like an all-time high right now. But I get to go home to my family in Seattle next week, which for Christmas and especially through COVID and stuff, I just completely, not took for granted, but just forgot to really fully appreciate like family and those around you that really are meaningful and that mean a lot to you. And so as of right now, I'm just like, gonna get home and just spend time with family, and that's for right now. That's like on my horizon, and that's all I really care about right now. So I'm excited for that. But hopefully 2021 will be home to some more like some travel, some traveling, and some other edits coming along. And I know they will come, but as of right now, I'm not trying to put a name on it yet. But yeah, I'm stoked for, all the whole, the grand scheme of things and the grand picture. And I know that this project is definitely not the peak. And I'm very excited to keep doing more like this, because again, it's only one more step towards whatever that big thing is. So I'm very, very excited.
Awesome, man. That's great to hear. I love that. Yeah, I'm actually calling my video this year and whatever. It's just basically stuff everyone's already seen on Instagram. It's not like too much new things, and it's not really, a project as much as it's just like a little time capsule for me from the year. But I'm calling it Surrender because it's like it's kind of this idea that you just spoke about for me too. It's just like we're going with the flow a little bit more. We know what's coming is going to be great, and I think it's a really powerful message. And also, yeah, especially I like what you said about your family. Do you have like siblings and stuff? Is it just you and your parents?
Yeah, I have 3 older brothers. One of my brothers has a kid,
baby.
and sorry,
I said you're the baby.
I am the baby. Yeah,
baby boy.
I've always been the little boy. Yeah. And yeah, it's just, I don't know. Yeah, it's nice. One of my brothers has a kid. He's 5, and I just love seeing that kid. And
so
and one of my other brothers is expecting a kid in July, and just like just that family bond. I just miss that so much, and I feel like the parkour community has been that for when I'm not home and with family. But now it's like, no one's really traveling and seeing each other in the same way that was in the past. So I definitely feel like I just need to be with people that I love. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that a lot.
Totally. Yeah, man. Anything from Tempest? I mean, we can't see, but we shouted out Tempest. The Zoom video is it's just totally washed out in the background, but that's that Tempest logo. Do you know, it looks like they're doing some interesting, just like these out of the mind projects. Like, do you know if you guys as a team have anything coming up, or?
Yeah, we're still in the works for a lot of different projects. And it's tough because everyone, all the pro athletes, we're all doing different things. Like Sydney's off in Atlanta, doing a 6-month gig. Jesse just got a kid and is, that's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Eric's a bit injured. Didi's a bit injured. So it's like everyone has like their own kind of like, it's not like we're all on the same page of like doing this one thing. But the universal feeling and idea from the team is, we want to keep making projects like this, like projects, just, and I feel like
could you repeat that? Sorry, we lost you for a split second.
Just very brief, but interesting seeing the perception of Tempest from the inside now.
Hey, Nate, I'm sorry, brother. Can you hear me?
Nope.
Can you? My connection just kind of like shit out for a second. Can you start again from? Fuck. You were just talking about how the team is still committed to doing projects like this.
You there?
Oh, we're both losing each other. Hold up. Oh no.
My wife, is it? I don't know.
I can hear you. I can hear you. You're frozen. Can you hear me? Come on, don't do this to us. Internet, you can do this better. Okay, I can see you now again.
Okay, I can hear you.
Okay. I'm going to slowly talk. I'm going to
hear me?
Yeah. I can hear you. Can you start from when you were talking about how Tempest wants to continue making projects like this, and then how it's been on the inside of that?
The headquarters, so they're
fucking Zoom.
You there?
Sorry, Zoom is shitting.
No.
Zoom's just shitting still. It's just shitting. Hold on a second. Let's just stabilize. Stabilize. Okay, I can hear you.
Stabilize. Chill.
You're grainy, but I can hear you now. Okay, please again. Continue, hopefully here.
All right. Yeah. So we're trying to keep doing meaningful projects like this, and to just like push meaningful things and share this whole thing, this whole passion that we all have, and it's interesting seeing the perception of kind of Tempest now being as a pro athlete, and how it's like people always kind of have some shit to say, it seems like, but Tempest, what we're going through right now, especially with COVID, it's like, everyone's getting hit hard and all the gyms are, really taking a toll. And, but the universal thing is, we're going into this next year with the intention of just, trying to create things for the culture and to push this thing ahead. And maybe in the past, it seemed like it was more, self-oriented, maybe. It was not really necessarily for the I don't really know what the perception of Tempest was in the past, but it always seemed like they were the big shots and the big, they're always like doing stunt jobs and all this stuff, and they have all the money, so like they're the bad guys. But seeing it from the inside, I know that that's not the case, and we're really just trying to push the sport forward, and just create more meaningful projects, and stuff is in the works, man. I'm excited.
Me too, brother. Yeah, I've got a lot of respect for Tempest. It's clear that they're putting out some really great content. They always have. They've created some of the most meaningful events over the years, the pro takeovers, the Tempest games that I got to be a part of, which was amazing. I've got a lot of love for Tempest, and I don't really like to hear when people have complaints about it, because they're usually pretty. If it's I've heard it too, and it's just like it's often unfounded or some kind of projection kind of thing, and sometimes the complaints are legitimate, but it just doesn't really get you attention in the right way. So I love what you guys are doing, man, and they're really lucky to have you. I mean, just the fact that they have been putting out and sponsoring athletes is just, again, it's just something no one's really doing within our community, and so that's a huge step forward, and they've been pioneers the whole way. So I'm pumped for what you guys produce, and I'm so excited to just keep going forward. Yeah, we'll see what 2021 brings. I
Yeah.
think who knows, bro? Who knows? You know, it could be
Who knows?
crazier. It could get more. We could all
My
lose
door
it.
is open, dude. I'm just if we're gonna be in lockdown, so be it. I'll be with family. I'll just be chilling, training. If we can travel, I'd love to do that and go see everyone and come hang out. But yeah, it's like no matter what, we'll get through it. It's just a matter of getting through it and being positive about it all.
100%.
But, yeah.
Well, brother, I don't know what else you got planned for the
Dude.
day. What do you got going on?
I'm going to South Bay to train a bit, get some gym
Ooh.
training in. I haven't been on
Is
the
it-
Super Champ in a while, so I'm going to
Dude,
enjoy
I miss
that.
those super beds, man. They're so nice. You can learn
They're
shit.
so much fun.
Dude, are
You
are
just
they
have
are
so
they
much
expanding?
space to like bail.
Yeah. Is Tempest still expanding? I heard this is a rumor that I don't even know is unfounded at all or whatever, but are they actually expanding their original location? What is it?
So the Tempest Valley Gym,
Gym.
yeah. So prior to COVID, they started renting out this space. So when they first opened the Tempest Valley Gym, that whole the whole space was open, and there was like right where the whole warehouse was open, and then they put that sidewall up,
Mm-hmm.
and so there was another business where I am right now is like the Tempest office and the headquarters we call it.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a bunch of offices where all the media team guys come and we just hang out and play basketball and stuff. But it was supposed to be the other extension of that gym, and they were just going to knock that wall down. But obviously COVID happened and it just kind of shut that down. But they still have the space. They have a spring floor in the back, so we're like renting it out to like for stunt coordinating or stunt rehearsing and whatever, so we can try and get some money from it. But yeah, it's still in the process. It's still happening, but it's like I said, COVID is not not being the nicest. Or the lockdowns aren't being the nicest.
Lockdowns, yeah.
So yeah, that'll hopefully that'll happen soon.
Cool. Get in that South Bay. That's an amazing facility right there. That's like, man, I've been in it just a few times and I want to go back. Definitely want to go back. I'm starting to get my acro game moving just for the first time now at the ripe age of 32. I'm getting focused on the twists.
Oh, let's go.
So just watch out for these old man hips coming at you.
Oh man, I'm looking for. I'll be ready, dude.
All right, brother. I'll let you go, I guess. And it's been such a pleasure talking to you, man, and catching up. And hopefully you'll come through Colorado again sometime soon, and I'll be able to go out to LA when the bans are lifted and all this.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you having me on, and just I love these meaningful conversations. That it's great. Great to catch up, and I hope to be in Denver soon. And if you're ever in LA, let me know.
I will. You know it. You know I'll be there. You make a small cameo. Just a voice cameo, and you held a few of the shots. So in my video, thank you. I'm gonna shout you out right now for holding some space for me there.
Of course, dude.
That
anytime.
day we trained
Anytime.
That was great.
All righty. Well, have a good one, man, and take it easy. Have a good rest of your weekend, and keep in touch.
All right, brother. Cheers. Thank you. You too.
Yeah. Have a good one.
Peace. Woo! There we go. You were there. I was there too. And it was a good time, and I hope you loved it because I did. Thank you, Nate, so much for sharing your experiences and your time with us. It's so good to catch up with him. He's such a great and powerful individual. And you know what time it is now. Now we give you the subscription reminders. So make sure that you are a subscriber of the podcast, because otherwise you're going to miss the shit that comes out, like the video that I mentioned in there. Go to that YouTube and subscribe for that. And be sure to check out, first of all the Nate Weston channels if you haven't already. I'll put that in the description first, but then scroll further down if you want to support the podcast. It's all laid out for you. You get to do anything that you want, like listen. That's already checked. You already did that. And then you can subscribe, and then a lot of you guys, that one too, boom. And then you go down further, and you go, okay, I'm going to go to that 5-star review level, and I'm going to leave a 5-fucking-star review on the podcast on iTunes. And I'm going to give likes and thumbs ups and shits and doorbell rings and whatever on the YouTube. And I'm going to tell my friends and I'm going to share it. And pretty soon there will be even options to engage on our website, heightdrop.com, where I will be diligently working behind the scenes to provide you with more fun and engaging ways for you guys who really want to support the podcast to do so. So very much love. And I am so pumped because it's only 12:23 and I can go outside and do some fucking fun shit in the sun. I need it. We all need it. Go get that vitamin D. It's good for you. It'll kill that vid. I love you guys. Bye. Skirt in that Rari, yeah, that's a new flex. Case switch your watch, what we